All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 2013 North Coast Section Girls Wrestling Championships live from the new gym here at the campus of Pittsburg High School in Pittsburg, California, out here in East Contra Costa County. Right now, we are in the matchup for the championship, the title bout for the 103-pound weight class between the top seed Harmony Roberts, a sophomore out of Ukiah, undefeated, going into this girls wrestling North Coast Section tournament bracket. And she's squaring off against Talissa Noriega, the third-seeded wrestler in this 103-pound bracket out of James Logan. Harmony Roberts, 10-0 going into this tournament. Talissa Noriega, 14-2. Both ladies are sophomores. Very young and talented are they both. Harmony Roberts, who you could call an All-American. She was at the All-Americas this year over summer. Competed in the USAW Cadet Women Freestyle Nationals tournament out in Fargo, North Dakota. That was back in July over the summer. In that tournament, she competed as a 108-pounder. Today, 5 pounds lighter in the 103-pound division. James Logan had a winner in the first title matchup in the lightest class of them all this afternoon. That was just a couple moments ago before we got on air, the 98-pound class with Haley Aguilar, the top seed in that bracket, holding true to her number one seeding and defeating Van Lau out of San Leandro. And what a statement it would be for the James Logan Colts if they were to take the first two titles with each of their wrestlers. They're looking for that team title here today, as well as the individual titles that they look to pile up this afternoon and evening. Very compelling match. 7-2 is the score. I don't know who that's in favor of at the moment. I haven't quite figured out who the colors on the scoreboard have related to. I'm sure I'll get that information after this matchup. Harmony Roberts is in the gold jerseys with the purple and white trim, purple boots. And her competitor, Talissa Noriega, in the black, red, and white wrestling uniform with the black and red shoes, red headgear. Right now it's Harmony Roberts on top, trying to win a point, trying to get Talissa Noriega down, but Noriega is fighting. Harmony Roberts right now still on top, and now she's bending Noriega back. Referees looking to square this thing off. And I believe a point went to Harmony Roberts there, as the ref is now checking with Talissa Noriega before getting this bout back going. 12-2 the score. I believe it is in favor of Harmony Roberts. Talked about Harmony just being a sophomore out of Ukiah. She was last year's North Coast Section champion in the 114-pound weight division. And Ukiah won last year's North Coast Section championship as a team, scoring 150.5 points, just ahead of James Logan, who was second with 138 points. So right now you have two wrestlers going at it. Wrestlers that were part of their respective programs that finished first and second last year here at this very gym for the 2012 North Coast Section Girls Wrestling Championships. Last year was the first year that the Girls Wrestling Championships for the North Coast Section were decided here in this gymnasium. Prior to it being in Pittsburg, The title bouts were held at Newark Memorials High School. And right now, it is Talissa Noriega getting her hair and headset back in line as it kind of got tangled with. Refs once again checking to see if each girl is ready. It's going to be Noriega starting in the down position here. The bottom down position. He's talking to Harmony Roberts' father. He's also the coach of the Ukiah program. And he had a lot to say about his daughter Harmony, how well she is taken to the sport of wrestling, despite being injured at the moment. She suffered a shoulder injury last year, just before the North Coast Section Championships. She still went on to wrestle in them and finish first, earning a trip to state. She then wrestled in state, didn't do too hot, but and that was one of the things that was brought up about in a lot of posts when I was getting ready and researching on Harmony Roberts. A lot of fans wondering why Harmony still wrestled at states and North Coast sections with an injury. And you can clearly see why here. 14-2 victory. Just her brutal strength and quickness. She could really fight through anything. This Harmony Roberts, I mean, to only be a sophomore now and winning 2 North Coast section championships, she's going to be a fear to reckon with by the time she's a senior. I guarantee you this, there's no other girl that wants to face her in the city of Ukiah. She is a tough cookie. So she is now the back-to-back champion here for North Coast section. Like I said, last year she was the 114-pound champ. This year, the 103-pound champion. And now we are in the 108-pound class. Getting ready for that to kick off between Alanya Dumdumaya out of Heritage High School in Brentwood, California, my neck of the woods. She is in the blue wrestling jersey, the sky blue with the yellow H along the right side, blue headgear, blue footwear. She is going up against Sierra Egger out of Middletown High School. And this, I'm sure, is going to be a good bout as well. Right now, Dumdumaya is in the lead 2-0. I think I figured it out. The higher seed should be the green on the scoreboard, and the lower seed should be the red. At least that's kind of what I'm gathering here. Play On Sports, your destination for high school sports. And today, your destination for girls wrestling. And Lanya Dumdumaya with an early victory, winning 2-0 as she gets the pin over Sierra Egger. A very fast bout there. And a hug from the coach, her father, her jiu-jitsu coach, for Lanya Dumdumaya. What a transition she has made from the sport of jiu-jitsu to the sport of wrestling. And now we are into the 114-pound class. This championship will feature Linda Tran, number 1 seed, against Alina Katowski. Alina Katowski out of Granada. And right now, Linda Tran in the navy blue wrestling jersey. She is in the lead 4-0. And she has pinned her opponent. So Katowski, a worthy opponent, but it is Linda Tran getting the victory in the 114-pound division. So we are just flying by here through these weight divisions here for the championships. And so now we're getting set for the 118-pound division. It's Melanie Cordero out of James Logan versus Brianna Padilla out of Albany. And these are two schools that are traditionally powerhouses in the sport of wrestling. And even girls wrestling, which hasn't even been around for that long. It's only been around since the year of 2004. But Albany scooping up a North Coast section title in 2011 for the girls. James Logan, no title yet, but they always seem to have individuals that get pretty far. Last year they came close, knocking on the door with a second-place finish as a team. And it's Melanie Cordero, getting the pin. 2-0, so now that's two individual titles for James Logan here in the first 5 weight classes. So now we're getting set for the 122-pound division. Carissa Madsen out of Novato squaring off against Emily Corshane, I believe out of Casa Grande. Right now it's, Emily Corshane out of Castro Valley. That is a school she is representing. She is in the green uniform with the gold striping. Meanwhile, it is Carissa Madsen out of Novato, undefeated, 28-0 on the season in the all-black. Now, we talked about injuries earlier on with Harmony Roberts. Well, Carissa Madsen suffered her own injury last year, a head injury, and had a withdrawal from state. She was the champ last year at 108 pounds, and she's the champ once again this year, only at a heavier weight class, the 122-pound class. So, similar fashion here from last year. We're seeing a lot of the same champs repeating, and a lot of pins early. Carissa Madsen, your champion for the 122-pound class. And now we're into the 126-pound weight division. Chanel Shawalit out of Albany High School versus Erica Mihaela out of Casa Grande. I think it's Erica Mialea is actually how you pronounce it. Mialea in the green outfit with the gray boots. And meanwhile, Shawalit in the crimson and black and gray uniform. In the black and red boots. And Shawalit had herself a very impressive record coming into this tournament. 28-0 for the junior. Fighting hard right now against Mialea, who has the lead 2-0. Right now, these ladies are at the edge of the mat. It's Mialea who is down. Shawalit trying to earn a point. And I want to say that Shawalit did earn a point there. So Shawalit will start from the advantage top position, I believe. And now I finally have some help. Alex Richmond, he could tell me if I'm pronouncing things the right way or the wrong way. This is a man who coaches the sport of wrestling, so he knows a lot more about this than I'm only giving you a little filler here and there, what Michael? I could. Alex, pleasure to have you in the broadcast.
Great to be here, Michael. Great to be here. And it's been a day of wrestling for me so far. I came over from Doherty Valley. We had a tournament over there.
And how'd that go?
It went well. We still have some guys wrestling over there right now. But glad to be here, and we should see some good wrestling here tonight.
Now, is Doherty Valley going to be a program to be feared with as far as boys wrestling goes in the NCS, or still kind of young?
They're up and coming. They're young. It was a tournament with multiple teams, though, from all over. So good showing by everyone. But Doherty Valley definitely an up and coming team in the North Coast section.
Well, one of the best teams in the North Coast section has always been my former high school, Liberty. Yep. Were they at the tournament, and how were they doing?
They were, and they had a good showing as well. They always have a tournament down there at Liberty, but they're a perennial powerhouse in wrestling. They really are.
Yeah, and as far as programs that we've seen here through these first weight classes that you missed, well, James Logan has taken 2 of 5 weight class titles, and James Logan has been predominantly good in wrestling as well, right?
Yes, they have. They had a good showing at the tournament that I was at today, and it looks like you just said, their girls program is not too shabby themselves, huh?
Yeah, no, they've had some girls that really have done well. Going back to some earlier titles here, it was in the lightest weight pound division, Haley Aguilar going on to win from James Logan. She was the top seed. And also from James Logan, Melanie Cordero in the 118-pound class, 20 pounds heavier than her teammate at 98. Right now we're into a battle for the 126-pounders between Chanel Shawalit out of Albany and Erica Mialea out of Casa Grande, yeah. Mialea came into this bout 6-1, a junior, both juniors actually. Shawalit undefeated. Right now she is on top.
Yeah, and she's in control right now. She's up 6-0 here, looks like in the second period, and trying to get some points here, trying to turn her over. See if she can do that right here with a crossface as she's looks like trying to go for a barbed wire, trying to turn her on her back right here, but she's getting out of position, getting a little bit high right here, Michael. And there it is. There's the barbed wire, but able to roll through. And now we have a reversal here, so that's going to be 2 points.
That's going to be 2 points for Mialea, right?
Correct. And now another reversal, so Shawalit back on top here. And that should make it 8-2, and it does.
So in this case, this is different from most rounds or most the other championships I've seen. I was getting a gathering that the top seed was in the color green and the lower seed was in the color red. However, in this case, they actually have them color coordinated. The red points going to the red and the green going to the wrestler in green. How does the scoreboard normally work?
That's what they try to do. They try to, if you have some red on your singlet, they'll give you the red band. So they do try to color coordinate it. And here it works out well because we have green and a little bit of red in Shawalit's uniform, her singlet.
Sure. So that's what they're called, singlets, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going with jersey. Then I said, I don't know if that sounds right, going with wrestling uniform. Now we know singlet. That's good to know.
And so here we see Shawalit. She's actually thrown in both the legs, trying to break her down. And that's if you're on bottom, that's a tough position to be in. She's got both the legs in right now, arching her back, trying to break her down. And if you're on bottom, that's just a really tough position to be in, and you're trying to stay on your base, but you.
Now Shawalit was pointing down. Does that mean she had her? She felt that she had?
It was her decision in the third period. It looked like she deferred in the first period, so now she gets her choice in the third. And she chose down because there was an escape. So
okay, so this is the third and final period, right?
Correct.
Wrestling goes 3 periods, and the only way that a match ends early is due to a pin, right?
Pin or a technical fault, I guess they'd call it. If you win up by 15, they end it.
Okay.
15 points.
That's kind of like a 10-run rule in baseball.
Right. So if you're up by 15, and they just stopped it for a potentially dangerous situation there. I didn't see the arm, but if the arm starts getting wrenching up, in an awkward angle, awkward position,
to where there could be a serious injury.
Right. They'll stop it. They will stop it.
Now, is there any other kind of things to look out for to where that they would have that kind of awkward or whatever?
The potentially dangerous.
Yes.
Full Nelson is something that is illegal, so that that can't happen. And it's just really the referee's discretion. If they see the arm in any awkward angle, they'll stop it if they think something could happen.
Now
that was a nice Peterson roll there, and she's going to get the reversal and some near fall points.
And this is Mia Leah you're talking about, right? Out of Casa Grande.
Yes, Mia Leah. She actually, and now that she's got that arm way up, they might stop it here. They haven't so far. But she did get a reversal, and she got near fall. So near fall is when the shoulders break, at a 45-degree angle. After they break 90 degrees, the refs will start counting with their hands. And if you get a 5 count, that's 3 points. A 2 count is 2 points.
Okay.
And so she got 2 near fall there along with her reversal. And there's another potentially dangerous situation. And they'll stop that. So the ref signaled 2 reversal and 2 near fall. So 11-6
Wow, so what
now.
a comeback now.
Yeah, Mia Leah coming back now in this match.
Mia Leah was down 9-2. And with 35 seconds left, I don't know, can she still win this one, get 5 points, and kind of make this thing interesting, or is it going to be rather tough?
She could. Let's see. I believe she's going to be down. She's going to be on top. That's right. So yeah, she could. If she needs to get near fall points, so she needs to put Shawalit on her back twice too.
And is there a certain strategy of doing that?
Well, yes, and we just saw it right here. She just let her up, so she should get a point.
Right now the clock stops. The referee awarding 2 points to Shawalit.
Yeah, so the first point was because Mia Leah let her stand up, and the second point was a technical point. It looked like she had maybe headbutt her or kind of hit her in the face, and that's what the ref signaled there. So that's why 2 points were awarded to Shawalit.
20 seconds remaining in this match as we are in the third period, the third and final period for this 126-pound division. Who will be the North Coast Section Championship for the year of 2013 in girls wrestling? Right now it's Shawalit, 3 seconds left, and she gets Mia Leah out of the circle. And the clock has expired. 13-6 the score, and it will be Shawalit earning the championship out of Albany High School, their first title of the day. Next up will be the 132-pound division. The championship will be another girl representing Albany High School, that being Erica Sotelo. Comes into this match with a she came into this tournament with a 23-6 overall record, sophomore. And she'll be going up against Emily Fishbaugh out of San Leandro, the second seed. These are the top 2 seeds going at it. Fishbaugh, a senior. She came into this tournament with a 23-11 record on the year.
And Sotelo only a sophomore, it looks like, Michael.
Yeah.
So
Sotelo in the black, white, and maroon singlet, black and white shoes, black headgear, and for her opponent, Emily Fishbaugh, she is in the blue singlet, white and red going down the sides, and blue shoes, black headgear. A 0-0 score early here in the first round of this championship fight in the 132-pound division.
Yeah, so here in the first period, they start neutral, they start standing, just trying to feel the opponent out, looking for ties, looking for hand control. So when I say tie, they're looking to tie up behind the neck and also just on the back of the tricep there. And so that's kind of inside tie, and that's what you like to get when you're standing up. You can work for takedowns and other things like that. And so they're just trying to feel each other out here, trying to see the tendencies of each other and try to get a takedown here in the early going.
Now, some of the fights we've seen earlier, Alex, girls pinned right away. I mean, why are some of these girls taking the time to feel each other out instead of just saying, let's get aggressive, let's go for the pin, let's win this thing right now?
Some wrestlers are more offensive than others. When I wrestled, I was a very defensive wrestler, so I would wait for the person to shoot. And here's a throw right here, but not able to get it. And they actually called a takedown here. So Sotelo able to get a takedown So she's up 2-0 here early on. But, yeah, it really depends on the wrestler. You know, if they're comfortable shooting in and trying to get the takedown right away, that's going to happen. And, you know, like you said, there's been some early pins, so they're able to finish it pretty early. Other wrestlers are different. So it's really the type of wrestler that you are. How comfortable are you with, you know, when you're on your feet.
Okay. So would you say that's kind of the most important body part to being successful in wrestling is more the feet, or is it do you want your arms? I mean, what's kind of the one body part that you think is the most essential to being a good wrestler?
You know, I don't know if I can
really
if it's a specific specific body part. It's just, you know.
Or is it better to have upper body strength or better to have good lower body strength?
You know, you want a little bit of both because you use both in wrestling. When I was talking about just being on your feet, that's just what I mean when they're standing.
Sure.
The standing part.
But I mean, do they get a lot of power by driving their legs, or is it more an upper body type thing?
Both, you know. I mean, both, because when you do shoot in on somebody, you're down on the ground and you got to pick them up with your legs. You have to drive with your legs, and you're also, you know, using your upper body too. So it's a combination, Michael. It's really a combination of both.
Right now, it's Sotelo kind of pushing off of Fishball, really. As Alex alluded to, trying to tie her opponent up. Both girls seem evenly matched in this bout. No one has yet to really make any aggressive moves forward. It is Sotelo right now with the early lead, 3-0. We are in the second round, and we have just over a minute left remaining.
Yeah, and Fishball not really doing much offensively. She just keeps trying to tie up, and then she'll, you know, let go. And I always tell my wrestlers, don't just tie up to tie up. You do
have
everything
a purpose
for a reason.
For tying up.
Exactly.
Right?
And right now it doesn't look like she has much of a purpose when she's tying up. She's kind of just doing it to do it because she's on her feet.
Now, is that a confidence issue or?
It's not it's not a confidence issue because she's made it this far. You know, she's in the NCS championship match, but it's just something, if you're going to commit, you just need to commit to it. That's what I tell my wrestlers. Commit to your shot. Because you see a lot of time wrestlers like that right there. She kind of just half shot there, and then she's underneath, and Sotelo just sprawled out on top of her, and from that position she was just in.
Kind of gave Sotelo an easy.
Yeah, Sotelo was able to spin behind like we just saw and get the 2 points, and now she's up 5-0. So it's more really committing to your shot as the second period's about to run out here.
3 seconds remaining in the second period, and it'll be Sotelo going into the third and final period with a 5-0 advantage. Both girls 23 wins coming into the tournament. For Fishball, 11 losses, Sotelo only 6. Fishball a senior, Sotelo a sophomore. Sotelo with 3 pins in this tournament leading up to this final round. She pinned Alexis Madonna out of McClymonds in 1:18. She then pinned Karina Silverstein in the second round in only 42 seconds. And then in the semifinals, Sotelo pinned McKenna Garcia in 1:23.
Yeah, and she's just a superior wrestler, Michael. We saw in that situation there, Fishball was on top starting the third period, and to really get her points back, she just needed to cut her loose. So give up 1 point and try to get the takedown. But we've seen Fishball unable to get the takedown. Now they're calling stalling on Sotelo for not moving around, you know, not creating any action. It looks like she's right here about to get the takedown here, and they just gave it to her.
Now, do girls do that when they have the lead and they're just trying to waste clock, or
cut her loose and
the stalling bit?
No. I mean, you never want to get really warned for stalling. People do a lot, wrestlers do a lot, but if you get warned twice, you know, you'll give up a point. And so the stall. I mean, sometimes you will find that if it's a close match, you will find the leading wrestler just, you know, kind of if they're on the ground, just kind of waiting the timeout. But there's no reason for Sotelo to stall here because she's up 8-0 with about 35 seconds left.
Sotelo had her arms wrapped up around Fishball. Fishball was able to get out of it and earn a point.
Yeah, I think she maybe more than anything just let her up there because she knows Fishball doesn't have much of a shot. There's another takedown for Sotelo.
Fishball looks tired right now. Just saw her face before Sotelo got her in a position where her face is pointed down at the floor. Now it's 10-1 for 2 points given to Sotelo. 5 seconds left in this third round. And it's going to be Sotelo winning the 132-pound weight division for the 2013 North Coast Section Girls Wrestling Championship by a score of 12-2.
So Albany taking the 126-pound weight class and the 132-pound, Michael.
Yeah, so Albany right now, they're in the mix with James Logan as far as trying to take this team title.
And we'll have another James Logan wrestler here in the 138-pound weight class. Alyssa Hernandez.
All right, so it's Alyssa Hernandez out of Logan, the top seed, 14-3, sophomore. She's taking on Adelina Adiemi out of San Leandro. And this is a great matchup right here. I mean, Logan and San Leandro, two schools rather close to each other. And they've already competed against each other a couple of times tonight.
And Adiemi with a takedown there, 2 points awarded to her. She goes up 2-0.
James Logan, although they have only won 2 titles tonight, they have had 3 of their wrestlers in the championship rounds, which I would sure give them a slight advantage over Albany right now.
Adiemi doing a good job running that power half right now, trying to turn over Hernandez. But Hernandez strong on the bottom here, not allowing that power half to turn her over. And it looks like Hernandez could just stand up right now if she can get that other leg out, and she will.
Alyssa Hernandez had a foot outside the circle, and so for that, a point given to Adiemi, who trails 2-1, I believe.
Adiemi in the lead.
Oh, Adiemi is in the lead. Okay.
Hernandez was awarded that point because she was able to just stand up and get free.
Oh, awesome.
And now here we have Hernandez with a takedown and getting some near fall. Look, she's...
All right, so Hernandez is now taking the lead, 3-2. She was down 2-1.
And then she got the near fall right there. She turned Adiemi on her back, so it's 5-2 now.
And so now, when they get back in positions, is it Hernandez that gets to choose having Adiemi down or herself being down?
Right here, it's whoever was down last.
Okay.
Okay, because we're still in the first period, so if Hernandez gets a takedown and Adiemi's on bottom and they go out of bounds, then she's going to be still on bottom because that's the last position they were in.
Okay.
Only at the end of rounds do you get to choose what you want. Right. So here's Hernandez trying to run the half.
And it's the person who's in the lead that gets to choose, right?
No, they have a coin that they flip, or just a kind of a
okay.
plastic.
I have seen that.
And it has the colors on it. So
yes.
They flip it, and he's going to do it right now. So they flip it, and it's green. So it's Adiemi's choice. She can either top, bottom, neutral, or defer, and she defers to Hernandez, and Hernandez is going to choose bottom.
Now, what's the advantage of choosing bottom?
Bottom, you can get points earlier. If she stands up and gets out of her grasp, then she gets a point.
Okay.
If Adiemi can't hold her down, it's 1 point, and Adiemi's just trying to turn her here and try to tie this up. But Hernandez is strong on bottom. She can stand right up.
Yeah, I saw that. Alyssa Hernandez.
And there's a reversal right into the half. And right now it's kind of there's no advantage to either wrestler right now. That's why we see the ref going like that hand signal. And there's Hernandez. No points for that because it was a stalemate, and she already got her 2 points for the takedown.
But she got herself out of a pretty ugly situation there. Now she seems like she has some control.
She did, and she runs the half now. And here you're just trying to sink it deep. You're trying to stay on your toes and be chest on chest and pull up on that head so you can expose both those shoulders on the mat.
Alyssa Hernandez in the black singlet with the red and white striping going down the sides. It reads Logan across the front and back.
And it looks like she's close to it. She's got on her toes like she should be. Only thing she needs to do is pull up on the head, but she's got both her arms pinned down, and there it is.
Meanwhile, Adiemi in the blue singlet. And so a pin goes to Hernandez. And so James Logan with their third champion on the afternoon here in the sport of girls wrestling, North Coast section. Alyssa Hernandez, I believe, scoring an 8-2 pin in the second round there over Adiemi. And so now we've moved on to the 146-pound division. And going at it for this title matchup will be Rachel Butler out of Foothill High School in Pleasanton, California, against Christina Arteaga of Clayton Valley. Rachel Butler, the number 1 seed, 16-1 going into this tournament, sophomore, taking on Arteaga, who I believe was the 5th seed, somewhere in that area. 7-2 on the season.
Nice takedown there by Butler, getting 2 points. Nice trip there. And she just got to, when you're on top here, you got to break your opponent down and stay heavy on him. You're trying to flatten him out here so you can try to turn him and get some near fall points. But Arteaga strong and able to escape here, so she's going to get the 1.
These colors both the same in blue. How you could tell one between the other. Rachel Butler has make that Arteaga has the shorts with the red and white Clayton Valley logo on them.
Yeah,
her singlet is all blue.
Butler's going to be mad at herself there. She forced a trip, just lost her balance and fell. She was trying to trip Arteaga and just really forced it. That's one thing you don't want to do when you're wrestling, Michael. You know, you want to commit to it. You don't want to force anything. It's going to come. You know, it's going to be there if you set it up correctly.
Talk about setting it up correctly. You're talking about setting up certain kind of moves.
Certain moves. I mean, she was going for a trip there, and she had a tie, but she had inside tie, but she hadn't completely set it up yet, and she just put her foot out there and really tried to force it. Didn't execute the proper technique and tried to really just muscle her over, and that's why she lost her balance and fell there.
Right now we're sitting at a 3-3 score. First round about to expire, and it does.
And she was going
Both girls getting a little chippy there at the end.
Yeah, so Butler right there, we saw her kind of reaching. She was in front of Arteaga and reaching back. That was a head and arm throw right there. She was trying to throw her down to the mat, get a takedown as well as some back points, but unable to execute that as the second period ran out, excuse me. I believe the first period. We're in the
so now we're starting the second period.
Yep.
Butler is in the blue singlet with the black kind of thick stripe going across the bottom and into the shorts. Blue socks, black shoes. Arteaga has the red socks, Clayton Valley colors.
Looks like Butler really likes those throws. She just went for one again. And both girls standing up, and you're very vulnerable to a takedown when you're standing up. Takedown meaning you go in for one or both of the legs.
Yeah, I was wondering why no girls have opted to do that yet.
See both girls standing up and trying to fix their headgear, and that's an opportune time to go ahead and shoot in and try to take your opponent down.
Now, I'm surprised the refs haven't stopped the fight yet with that going on. There's been a couple instances before you got here where they kind of stopped the clock and let the girls adjust their gear.
Yeah, maybe because it was just their gear had fallen off, right? When they're doing that, they're just fixing it a little bit, and it's just if your opponent does that, it's just an opportunity to shoot in on them and get some points. But both girls standing up here and kind of reaching. They're not really shooting. Butler's just reaching there. And it looks like she might be going for a snatch single where you just kind of reach down and pick up the leg, but she's not setting it up correctly. Kind of forcing things, and here's the throw again, not forcing it. It's not really there. And if you force moves when it's not there in wrestling, that's when you get in trouble.
Rachel, who enters the tournament ranked as the top female wrestler, had this to say about making it to NCS. She said, quote, "I'm really excited. It's a lot of pressure being a first year, but it's a positive type of pressure. It makes me believe in myself. If they believe in me to be ranked highly, then I can do it." End quote.
And so they'll give her time here to fix her headgear.
She also went on to say this: "I hope to make it to state, and I hope to get a medal at state." And she should make it to state just for being in the top three, right? All the top three go to state?
Top three of NCS go to state, correct.
Her coach, Dennis Golcher, extremely proud of his pupil, Rachel Butler, who in her first year of wrestling, making it to NCS.
That's pretty amazing, Michael, yeah.
And she had to learn how to wrestle after having some experience in judo. And, we've seen that a lot with some of these girls. Being that girls wrestling is rather new to the high school sports landscape, a lot of these girls having to make the transition from these other kind of martial arts sports. Now, I don't know if you've been around guy wrestlers that you know that kind of came into their first year from a martial arts type thing, but just maybe in your experience, how hard is that to kind of to just go into wrestling your first year and be successful at it?
Yeah, I mean, it is tough because there's so many things that you need to do technique-wise. Your technique, to be a great wrestler, your technique has to be flawless. And then you also, every single move has to be second nature. And we call it chain wrestling. Your opponent does something, you do something to counter it. He's going to do something to counter that, you do something to counter that. So, I mean, it just takes practice, practice, practice. Your technique has to be flawless, and you have to know, how to counter each and every move. And so when you see, you don't see a lot
It's a lot more than just trying to take someone down and pin them.
Exactly. And there's a throw right there, backfired on Butler, and she's going to give up a takedown. So we've seen her continue to force that throw. And there it backfired on her, and she gave up 2 points, and now she's actually down 5-4.
So Butler, the top seed.
And trying to get an escape here. She'd love to stay in bounce. She needs to circle back and bounce, not worry about the head. See, when she's trying to grab the head right now, she needs to break that lock so she can get back and bounce.
Butler,
15 seconds left.
With 15 seconds away from being upset here in this tournament. Arteaga with a 1-point lead, 6 seconds left.
And she's going to be upset here.
Butler will not be able to make any moves that will gather some points in the waning seconds. And so it is Christina Arteaga of Clayton Valley upsetting the rookie wrestler, the number 1 seed in the 146-pound division, as she will knock off Rachel Butler. Both girls will still advance to state, but it is Arteaga winning the North Coast Section Girls Wrestling Championship for the weight class of 146 pounds.
Yeah, Michael, just to comment on that last match, although Butler has been very successful in her first year, you could tell that she was new to the sport. She really wasn't going for any takedowns, any single or double leg takedowns. She was just trying to go for the throw, and she kept forcing it. And I said earlier in about the second period, you try to force things in wrestling, you get in trouble, and she got in trouble. She brought her to the ground, but didn't fully hit the throw correctly, and she gave up a takedown, and that's what put her behind.
And now my alma mater in the mix is Nicole Diaz, representing Liberty High School out of Brentwood, California, the top seed. She is in the Cardinal singlet with the gold and white striping going down the sides, black headgear, and she is squaring off against Leilani Kuka out of Rancho Cotati in the red singlet. Four to 2 is the score. Is that Diaz out in front, or is that Kuka?
That's Kuka out in front. Diaz just got a reversal at the end there, and that's why they started in that position. That's why Kuka started on bottom, but Kuka is going to get the escape here. She does, so she's going to be awarded 1 point.
So Leilani Kuka, the senior, 15-6 record coming into this tournament.
And there's a takedown, and she's wrenching up on that. She's going to get some near fall points here. And that's going to be 3. points, so 5 total. Now she just has to adjust. She's got to lift up on that head, and both shoulders have to be on the mat for a few seconds here to get a pin. But she needs to put all her weight on Diaz.
Leilani Kuka, look at those arms, so strong.
And there it is.
And she is pinned, Nicole Diaz. So back-to-back upsets here as we start reaching into the upper weight class divisions. Leilani Kuka out of Rancho Cotati pinning Nicole Diaz out of Liberty 7-2 to win the 154-pound weight class. Next up will be the 165-pound weight class. Folks, just want to remind you that you can find this broadcast on demand at playonsports.com. You can also go to CIF.northcoast.tv, the official sports broadcasting partner of the North Coast section, and all their championship sports. We are now into the 165-pound weight battle between Niauni Hill out of Hayward, out of Hayward, and Courtney Rouse out of Antioch. Rouse with a lot of fans in the stands. She is in the gold and black singlet. It is Jessie Flynn taking on Niauni Hill. Niauni Hill is in the black and gold singlet, and Flynn out of Middleton is in the purple singlet.
And we saw an aggressive takedown by Hill there, but just got out of bounds. And here's going to be a takedown, and she's going to go for the pin here. She's got her on her back. Going to get near fall points, but she's close to the pin. There it is. It's over. First round with 106 remaining. Hill able to get the pin, Michael.
So Niauni Hill with the pin early. And so it's been a rather disappointing day for Middleton, as two of their best fighters in both Jessie Flynn in this 165-pound division and Sierra Egger in the 108-pound division losing. Now, granted, they were going up against the top seeds in each division, but before this tournament, Middletown coach said that he firmly believes his team can pull it off. I'll go back to the article which stated that. But he was very confident in his girls' ability to possibly eke out of this tournament with the team title. Two wrestlers going down. I don't know if that's going to be the case. James Logan has 3 champions. And now we are in the 189-pound division with Iris Stegman out of Berkeley taking on Vicky Espinosa out of Rancho Cotati.
And Stegman with a takedown already, and now she's got that arm bar, just trying to run it, and now she's got her on her back. She's going to get her near fall points. We see the ref counting there. So she's going to get, as of right now, 2 additional points.
So Stegman out in front early. Both ladies in the red singlets.
And she's got that arm bar locked up. She just needs to come. And now she's going to scoop the head here. All she needs to do is scoop the head, but Espinosa able to get back over.
Now, my question here, Alex, is I noticed Stegman's legs were outside the circle. Why wasn't there like a violation called for that? She could have her.
She can. So if she.
See, I thought that no body parts could be outside the circle.
No. So if, let's say Espinosa was all the way outside the circle and she was on her back and Stegman, just had her feet in, that's okay. As long as both her feet are in, she could pin her from out there.
Okay, so she could have one foot outside the circle, but both feet not okay.
Right. Once they're all the way out, then they'll call it and they'll have to reset.
Stegman in the Nike shoes and her opponent Espinosa in the Asics. Stegman up 4-0 here. 15 seconds remaining in this first period. This to determine the 189-pound champion for girls wrestling in the 2013 North Coast Section tournament.
And she's got the arm bar again. She's going to get at least 2 points here. Shows her get 2 points. And looks like that's Stegman's move when she's on top there. She loves to lock up that arm bar and run it to the side that you have the arm bar. You walk towards the head, and that turns your opponent over.
So now Stegman having to start in the bottom down position.
And look at Stegman, so strong on that stand-up.
Very fast, too,
yeah,
Stegman.
She got awarded a point, and that's what you want to do. You want to be quick off the whistle, and when you're on bottom, get your opponent's hands right away so you can stand up and break free.
Only 2 weight classes left. This one, and then the final, the heavyweights, 235-pound weight class. 7-0 lead for Sonorti Stegman, a senior who came into this tournament with a 16-1 overall record. Had a first-round bye, pinned her opponent, Jennifer Carl out of James Logan, in 22 seconds in the quarterfinals, and then in the semifinals was able to pin her opponent, Alexis Martin, out of Newark Memorial in just 1:07.
Yeah, that was a great takedown we saw there by Stegman. And she's a great all-around wrestler. She's good on top. She loves that arm bar. She's got it locked up again. And she's going to try to run it here. And she's going to
another point for Stegman. I mean,
get her near fall points here. So it looks like she got a 4 count. So that's at least 2. And now she's got her stacked up. And there it is. So Stegman, strong performance there, Michael, in the 189-pound weight division.
Another pin for Stegman, not allowing any points at all to her opponent, that being Vicky Espinosa. Vicky Espinosa, though, a freshman, so you've got to know that with time, she'll probably be a great wrestler in her own right. She's pretty great to make it to the championship. She'll be going to states. Vicky Espinosa out of Rancho Cotati, a fierce wrestler, but Stegman just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, Stegman, impressive.
A 9-0 pin for Stegman in the second round. And now the last of the 14 weight classes championship bouts for the North Coast Section Girls Wrestling 2013 edition.
Yeah, and so when you pin somebody, Michael, the points aren't taken into consideration. It's only the pin. That's the only thing that matters. When it ends by points, then it's whoever's got the most.
Okay, but if it's a pin, it's just a pin.
Right, 9-0, but she pinned her, so that's it.
Okay.
Pin.
It wipes away the points.
Right. You don't have to worry about the points at that point because you pinned your opponent.
Now, had she have gotten another point, then it could have. Oh wait, it's 16 is what it takes.
15.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we are in the championship bout. It's Sam Cruz on her own gymnasium floor here, representing Pittsburg, the top seed, senior, 11-3, going into this tournament. Black singlet with the orange stripes going down the sides. And she is taking on Joanna Mack out of Castlemont High School from Oakland.
And there's a takedown for Cruz.
Joanna Mack, a freshman, 6-3 going into this tournament.
And Cruz out of position here. Mack just needs to try to grab her head. She's way out of position. Cruz needs to get back behind Mack. And she will. And when you're on bottom, you just need to keep working. You need to sit out, and you just need to do anything you can. Try to work for hand control, sit out, and turn. Just try to get your opponent that's on top of you out of position. Get him off to the side.
Just kind of squirm a little bit, you know.
And here we go. Cruz, the wrestler from Pittsburgh here on her home floor, trying to get the pin here on Mack. And it looks like that's it. Yep. with 20 seconds left in the first period, Sam cruises to victory.
I like that. Cruz with the pin. And look at the ovation and cheer she is getting from her fans here on her own home floor. And so now it'll be time to give the medals. Present the medals to the champs. Once again, I will go over all the champions here, starting with the first matchup we had in the 98 weight class, 98-pound weight class. Haley Aguilar, top seed out of James Logan, winning in that one. Then Harmony Roberts took the victory in 3 rounds against her opponent, Talissa Noriega. That was for the 103-pound weight division. Harmony Roberts out of Ukiah continues to stay undefeated on the season.
That's impressive.
Yeah, her father, a wrestler, also the coach of the Ukiah team, and he said, hey, if you think Harmony's something else, wait till you see my little one. She's coming up next into the program. So he has himself a set of daughters that are taking after Pop in the wrestling.
And that's when you see a lot of special wrestlers. You know, they have their dads wrestled, and they start at a very young age, and there have been some boys in the different high school wrestling programs that I've seen throughout the years that are in that same situation. They're just spectacular.
Well, Harmony actually wrestled a boy and got hurt last year, but she still proceeded to go through North Coast, won North Coast, then went to state, didn't do too well in state. A lot of people asking why her father, Shane, let her participate, and she said she didn't want to let her team down. She wanted to keep wrestling. And she went to All-Americas out in Fargo over the summer. Did well. Saw her videos on YouTube there. For the 108-pound champion, Lanya Dumdumaya out of Heritage scoring the pin in the first round. And she's an interesting story as she's another one of those conversions, Alex. She converted from jiu-jitsu over to wrestling.
Okay.
She trains at the Gracie Martial Arts School in Brentwood, California. And her father, also the coach, and said, you know, she's learning to be aggressive. You know, in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of more you wait back and then you strike. But in wrestling, he's kind of tried to teach her to be more aggressive. She's a junior. She'll be back next year. 24-3 overall record going into this tournament. And we'll see what she can do in state. As for the 114-pound division, it was Linda Tran pinning her opponent rather quickly. Her opponent being Alina Katowski out of Granada. Linda Tran, 9-2, senior, going to state as a champion. In the 118-pound division, we had Melanie Cordero winning the 2013 Girls Wrestling Championship. She pinned in rather fast fashion out of James Logan. That gave Logan their second title on the day after an earlier victory from Haley Aguilar. Then in the 122-pound division, Carissa Madsen out of Novato. She continues to stay undefeated on the season. A junior, 28-0 going into this tournament. And she scored a very quick pin. That was when we had 3 matches just go boom, 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 as she knocked off Emily Corshane out of Castro Valley. Then you came into the fold for the 126-pound division. Chanel Shawalit taking on Erica Mialea. Shawalit winning in 3 rounds, 13-6. That was the first non-pin in, 5 straight. And what'd you see out of Shawalit that you liked in that matchup? I mean, she went the full distance. This was a girl who was undefeated. Some might have thought she was just going to easily kind of cruise through Mialea, but it wasn't the case. Mialea put up a fight.
No, yeah, Mialea did, but Shawalit just a solid all-around wrestler. I mean, she was really able to control Mialea for the most part. Mialea able to score 6 points, and it was close until the end there. And so, you know, Shawalit, just like I said, you know, she had it all really, and she was able to hang on and win by 7.
And Shawalit earning the first of back-to-back titles for Albany in the individual weight classes, as Albany winning the 126-pound division with Shawalit, and they won the 132-pound division right after with Erica Sotelo, the top seed, 23-6 sophomore, winning 12-2 in 3 rounds as she knocked off Fishball, and I noted from the whole way on that Fishball just was an inferior opponent at that point.
Yeah, she was. Sotelo was the superior wrestler, and because Fishball was behind early, and when you're behind early, and she was on top, so Sotelo had gone down in the second period. She was starting in the top position. When you're down like that, and you have to cut her loose, you have to just let her get up. You give up a point, but when Fishball was neutral, she didn't really have much of an offensive game. She couldn't take down. Her takedowns weren't very good. She didn't have any takedowns.
And I'd imagine when you're down that early, it's really hard to find the energy to kind of come back into.
It is, unless you have a good ground game, But Fishball, Sotelo was just able to stand up, and then so she's up, and now Fishball, she's kind of stuck there because she couldn't take Sotelo down, and so that was kind of tough for Fishball just throughout the whole match. She was facing a superior wrestler in Sotelo.
So at that point now, Albany picking up their second individual title. That tied them with James Logan, 2 titles apiece. They're kind of neck and neck for that team title. And then James Logan established the position of moving forward and inching closer to taking the first place title away from Albany, as they had their 3rd wrestler of the afternoon win a championship. This time it was Alyssa Hernandez in the 138-pound division, scoring a pin in the 2nd round. And what do you remember of that fight between her and Adeyemi of San Leandro?
Yeah, that was actually a great match. I mean, Hernandez able to come on strong there in the second period there and pin Adeyemi, but I thought Adeyemi at the start she was very aggressive.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna go the distance, but Hernandez, coming from a strong program, like we said, James Logan, so strong, and able to just pin her in the 2nd round there, 2nd period.
Then in the 146-pound division, probably the biggest upset of the day, Rachel Butler, even though she just started wrestling this year, she had done pretty well for herself, 16-1, a sophomore, making it as the number 1 seed, top wrestler in her weight class in Northern California, and she just ran into an opponent that just was feeling the momentum in Christina Arteaga of Clayton Valley, and I don't know what seed she is, but she definitely wasn't in the top 3, Arteaga, but Arteaga, the junior, scoring the victory in 3 rounds, 5-4, probably the closest fight we saw today, and just your take on that when you said you saw the inexperienced ness of Rachel Butler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the first thing before we talk about this, there have been so many underclassmen that I've noticed that have been in the final, and that's great to see. But Butler here in her first year, very impressive, getting to the NCS final.
Excuse me, has wrestling been more of like a senior-dominated sport from your take coaching?
Right,
not
necessarily. The stronger kids are juniors and seniors, unless you have some of those kids who have wrestled before high school, wrestle in different youth programs or over at the CYC in Concord or Pleasant Hill Wrestling Club, any of those. Yeah. You have kids that wrestle young, then they are going to be good. But normally it's the juniors and seniors that are strong.
So
but
now so you would credit maybe the success of these lower classmen to the youth clubs?
I think so. I mean, some kids just start wrestling freshman year and it's just meant for them. They're just talented, and so they're able to succeed quickly. But a lot of these people that you see, because like I said, the technique is so important, and you just need to have that experience over and over again of wrestling and being in the same situation and knowing how to counter your opponent. They do something countering that, and so it just takes a lot of experience. It's just some kids that start freshman year, it just clicks with them. But going back to this, the 146-pound match between Butler and Arteaga.
Yeah.
Butler, like I said, impressive she got there, but you could see the inexperience of her. She kept forcing those throws time and time again. And like I said in this match, you force something, it's going to hurt you in the long run. And it hurt her. She tried to throw. And in the end, at the very end, Arteaga got that takedown, and she won by a point, 5-4.
Yeah, Arteaga coming back in that one. And she was down 4-3. Remember, it was Butler's fight to win, and Arteaga made the comeback late in the 3rd period. Moving on to the 154-pound division, Leilani Kuka scoring maybe the 2nd biggest upset of the day as she knocked off Nicole Diaz. Kuka, who had half the wins of Diaz and double the losses, but yet she came out strong and got a pin in the 1st round, defeating Nicole Diaz. And just your take on that bout between Kuka and Diaz.
Yeah, I'm looking at the brackets right now, and Kuka, 12-second pin, 19-second pin, and then she pins in the first round of the finals. I mean, she came out strong. I think Diaz actually scored first in the match.
Yeah.
And then Kuka able to just get Diaz on her back. And
actually, no, I believe Kuka went up 2-0 because I thought that was Diaz.
Oh,
then
you're
you
right,
told me
you're
it was
right,
Kuka.
You're right, yeah. Then so that's when Kuka got the reversal and was able to eventually put her on her back and finish her off. And that was just impressive from Kuka. You know, she was the second seed, I believe.
Yeah.
So again, beating the first seed and just an impressive match. And Rancho Cotati able to get an NCS champ at the 154-pound weight division.
Yeah, and then Rancho Cotati would be heard from later on as they would have another fighter make it to the championship. We'll talk about that. That was 2 weight classes later. The next weight class was 165 pounds, and Niani Hill out of Hayward taking on Jessie Flynn out of Middleton. And Middleton, who thought they were going to have a victory earlier with Sierra Egger, she couldn't quite win. And they thought maybe they had a chance here to pull off the upset Jessie Flynn, the 3rd seed in this tournament. But Niauni Hill, just way too strong, and she pinned Flynn right away.
Yeah, she pinned her with 106 remaining in the first. And Hill was just stronger. Like you said, she was forceful, and she really took it to Flynn and able to get it in the first period.
Niauni Hill, who had a first-round bye, pin on route to a 165-pound championship out of Hayward High School. Then in the 189-pound division, like I said, Rancho Cotati getting back into the championship conversation as they had a wrestler by the name of Vicky Espinosa, 22-3, a freshman, very impressive on the year, going up against the number 1 seed, stronger senior in Sonorti Stegman, and Stegman out of Berkeley getting the pin in the second round.
Yeah, and I came in at about the 126-pound
with
match.
Shawali.
So from then on, Stegman, most impressive wrestler I saw.
Wow.
Yeah, all around. She had it all.
Yeah.
When they were up on neutral, when they were standing on their feet, she had the takedowns. Then when they went to the ground after she took Espinosa down, although it was only one move, she really liked the arm bar. She locked it up, and she was very effective. So
maybe a case for tournament player of the match, player of the tournament. Maybe we can get her interview. We'll try to get Stegman. Last but not least, the heaviest weight class, 235 pounds. Sam Cruz out of Pittsburg here on her own home floor, taking on Joanna Mack out of Castlemont, a senior versus a freshman. And in those cases, most times rather than not, it is the senior that wins. And that was the same to be said in this case, as Sam Cruz gets the first round pin over Joanna Mack.
Yeah, just experience there, I think. You know, just experience for Cruz, and she was able to end it right away in the first round.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get a couple of wrestlers if we can, because I'd like to get Harmony Roberts. Actually, if we can get her dad here on the broadcast, we're going to get Harmony Roberts' dad here on the broadcast. We'll bring him in. Coach, Harmony winning in 3 rounds, she got the pin. Just explain to us how strong she looked, in this matchup. She looked like she had pretty good advantage over her opponent. I mean, granted, Noriega did give her a fight, but your daughter definitely looked like she was ready for this and came out really strong.
Yeah, she wanted to basically end up with, her goal is to be a 4-time section champ, and she's just been working hard for the last month trying to get back into wrestling, being out for 6 months. So.
Now, is there a certain strategy that's going to come into play as states start, or are you just going to say, hey, you know what, do what works for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Pretty much, we're keeping her on her same moves. We're working we're with the doctor and making sure she's going to be able to compete, and we'll just move on with keeping aggressive.
And as a team, what do they think of the leader only being a sophomore? I mean, the leader of this program, more times than not, is a senior. But in this case, your daughter, a sophomore, really the heart of this program. What have the girls thought about it? I mean, do they just really feed off her energy?
The girls do feed off it. We had a really hard time at the beginning of the season until she came back. There was no motivation. As soon as she came back, all the motivation kicked in, and they all want this more. They came from first place last year, and in here to a 4th place this year, but with a bunch of first-year girls, just better to come.
And what was that like, just really quick, touching on last year's North Coast Section Championship? I mean, sure, it's exhilarating for a girl to win it as an individual. I'm sure your daughter's very happy with herself now, back-to-back champions in only her first 2 years. But explain what it's like when a team takes a wrestling title?
Well, when the team took it, there was just the excitement was just unbelievable. The school support, we got immediate school support for it. We had everything, and they were just girls just wanted more.
All right, thank you, Coach. Shane Roberts, the Ukiah Wrestling head coach, also the father of one of the champions here today, that being Harmony Roberts in the 103-pound division.
Yeah, and like I said, having a coach like Shane Roberts really helps your program. He wrestled. You have somebody that can, I guess most people did wrestle, but just for Harmony Roberts, having her father that wrestled really helps her out. I mean, it's a huge help. It's helped to have, obviously, most of the coaches that coach have wrestled or have some experience, but when you have a parent that's wrestled, that's when you see the kids that are really special, and they're able to start at a younger age, and
I'm sure it's got to be special, too, when not only has the parent wrestled, but they're also your wrestling coach as well,
right.
Kind of being with you every step of the way, giving you that support. Right now they're giving the medals out.
And so this is for I believe Harmony's weight class, as they have the coach from the wrestler who got first place goes out and hands out the medals. So we have a coach from
Ukiah.
From Ukiah right now, correct?
Last year's champion. And there is Talissa Noriega, second place. Fought hard. And here is Harmony Roberts.
And second year in a row she's won it, correct?
Yeah. Last year winning it in the 114-pound division. This year dropping down some weight. Now, and that was a question I was going to ask you also throughout the match. I researched these girls, and I saw that some were wrestling at a higher division in the same year that they came into NCS at. Now what's the deal with that? You can fluctuate like that?
You can fluctuate between one weight class.
Okay.
And so
because she went from 108 at points this year, Melanie Roberts, to 103 overall in this tournament, which that's okay because that's that
okay.
1 point.
Yeah,
as
long
class.
as you, I believe, at least this was the rule when I was wrestling, you wrestle half your matches at one weight and half at the other, so you can decide once league comes around what you want to wrestle at. That's what I did my sophomore year. I wrestled at 145s and 140s.
Okay.
So I wrestled at both, half my matches, and then you decide at league what you want to wrestle at. And that just gives you more of an option.
And is it harder to wrestle at a heavier weight class or at a skinnier weight class?
It just depends on how much weight you're cutting, and that's always something that's can be tough for a person, mentally and physically.
Yeah, I remember some of the tactics that some of our boys at school used to go through to do that.
Yeah, some of the tactics probably maybe even back then weren't the best, but if you cut weight properly, and there's a proper way, people are probably ask themselves, cut weight properly. There is a proper way to do it to stay strong and not be weak. Sometimes when I would wrestle at one, I'd be way 139.
Did you do the running around in the plastic bags thing?
I never did that, no. But when you wrestled that, when you cut a lot of weight, I cut about 15 pounds or so.
I remember the two tactics I remember the most were that and the chewing gum, spitting it out.
Yeah,
a lot of wrestlers did that.
But once if you go down a lot, sometimes you feel weak, and some of the times I felt weak at 139 because that wasn't my natural weight. So it just depends. If you cut weight properly, you have the energy, it's okay. And normally when you're just in going between 1 and 2 weight classes, you're not going to see that much of a difference. There aren't kids that are that much bigger because you're probably already used to the heavier weight class because you normally just go down one if you want. You're not going to stay at one and jump up one more. You're going down.
Okay, well, being that we're using 108, 103, let's keep with it. So how close do you have to be to that number to where you're wrestling in that group? So let's say let's say you were 105 pounds. You're right in the middle. Where are you wrestling? You're going 108. You're not going 103.
No. If you step on the scale and you're over 103.0,
then you're in the 108. Okay.
Yeah, I mean sometimes they give a little bit of leeway if you're 103, maybe 0.1, 0.2, but if you're over 103.0, if you're over that, 108.
Okay.
So, and they have all sorts of things they give after a few weeks in the season. They give you a 2-pound allowance. So, a weight class would go up 2 pounds. I'm not sure if they do that for the girls or not. And now they made a rule where you have a certain, I'm not sure if it's for the girls either, this is for the boys, a certain percentage, body fat percentage. You can't go under that. You can't go under 7% body fat because they don't want people really cutting weight. I mean, it's healthy. You can be under 7% and be healthy, but they just don't want kids, really drastically cutting weight. So they're trying to do some things to try to prevent kids from, going crazy when they're cutting weight. But.
Sure. And here is head coach standing in front of us, that being Doom Dumaya, Lanya Doom Dumaya's father. His daughter winning the 108-pound weight class championship.
So North Coast section. To 114.
Yes. Now we are moving on to the 114-pound division, where Linda Tran was the champion out of Dublin High School.
And I obviously wasn't here for these matches, but I assume, from 103 or 98 to 114, and even maybe the next one.
Yeah.
A little more action, huh? A little bit quicker, a little more lively.
They were very quick. Yeah, very quick. Except for the 98-pound, that one lasted a little bit. But they were all really quick. I mean, these girls, I felt that going into, I didn't really get to do much on the heavyweight class, so maybe it was just what I got to research. But I felt that the strength of this year's 2013 North Coast Section Championship, although you were very impressed with Stegman, I felt like a lot of the really, really good wrestlers were at the lighter weight classes. I mean, like I said, I'm looking through, searching these girls, and Harmony Roberts, there was plenty of videos of her at All-American. Same with Haley Aguilar and same with Melanie Cordero. I mean, these girls, they really are strong wrestlers. And they took down their opponents rather quickly, the ones that were the top seed. I mean, as you see, in all of these weight classes before you got here, it was all the top seeds winning. And they showed that they were worthy of that seed.
Yeah, so we're on to 114 now.
Right.
That's what they're handing out right now, and that was Linda Tran.
Yeah, the senior.
And here she comes up, Linda Tran from Dublin. Able to win by pin here at the 114 division.
Linda Tran.
And she'll be going on to state, like we said earlier, the top three, Michael.
Yeah.
Move on to state. Fourth is an alternate, so if something happens to one of the three, then that fourth person is put in there.
So it's actually worthy to really take a look at the girl who finished fourth, because just in case.
Yeah, she'll definitely go to state or make sure at least that everyone's going to be wrestling, because once all the three girls wrestle, it's not like she can be put in after that.
Right.
It's going to be the very first match.
States will take place next weekend in Lemoore. That's where they've been at least the last couple years. Okay. Lemoore, a little town just outside of the Hanford, Visalia, Fresno area, just a little south of Fresno.
So now we're on to 118.
Yeah, in the 118, Melanie Cordero, the champ there. Another senior.
Yeah, and this was fun. I mean, I was here from 126 on, I believe, and we saw some good wrestling, Michael. I mean, I'm sure the matches before were good too, but this was impressive. We saw some girls with very good technique and wrestling great matches. I mean, it was good to see. I've had a day of wrestling. I've seen the boys and I've seen the girls. It's been fun.
Now, do the boys get started? Are they about to get kicking off with their NCS?
Not quite yet. It's going to be about 2 or 3 weeks or so. They still have They have, I think league is in 2 weeks, not this
Okay.
week, but the next week, and then they'll have NCS the week after that. So today was kind of the last tournament of the year. We had a tournament at Mission San Jose. We had one guy qualify for that.
And Mission San Jose is usually one of the programs that's pretty good.
And that was a tough tournament. We only had one guy qualify for that.
And who's your guys' top wrestler right now?
Our top wrestler is probably one of our top wrestlers is out actually. Andy Christian. He's out with got a concussion unfortunately last year and is still out. But we have Andrew Nakahara is the one who qualified for Mission San Jose for the second day.
And what weight class is he?
He's a 145.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my coach at my high school, Coach Chappell, always wanted me to be a wrestler. And I don't know, something about it, I just never really took his offer. And sometimes I kind of regret that and wish I would have done it. He says, man, you don't know how strong you could have been. I mean, I was weighing 110 playing football. Played football 4 years. And, one of the things that coaches always knew about me was I was going to give it my all, a lot of heart. And he said, that's probably the biggest quality you need in wrestling is just to not have that give-up factor.
Determination, yeah. Definitely.
And now they're going to be announcing the 122-pound division. This was the last match that I took care of on my own before I was joined and glad to be joined at that point by Alex Richmond because I was only able to give away the basics. Like I said, I had about not even a full 24 hours to really try to get ready for this wrestling broadcast.
Throwing on the broadcast.
But I was very excited for the challenge. I love getting to broadcast a new sport. Throws me back to when I first broadcasted gymnastics at Sac State. Had no idea what I was doing.
Wow.
But we had a lot of fun. And in a way, I really relied on my analyst, just like I did for you today, because they were able to they knew what moves were going on. In gymnastics, I had the analyst kind of step in as the play-by-play for each routine, and then I would come through with my little bits and pieces afterwards. But very, very similar, just in the way that you even kind of notified me of the correct uniforms. I'll never forget the first gymnastics broadcast. Sac State came out, the lady team came out. I said, here comes Sac State. All the girls are in their shimmery green jerseys. And Ashley Baker, who was the analyst, she was a former gymnast, had the career-ending shoulder injury. She was kind of one of them honorary coaches. Stepped up, said, I'll be your analyst. And on that first broadcast, she pointed me out right there in the cold. She goes, hey, man, I hate to call you out, Mike, but they're not called jerseys in the sport of gymnastics. I said, what are they called? She goes, they're called leotards. I said, okay, we can work with that. And it was funny, the emails that poured in, Mike on the mic, average Joe, but we love it. And it was a really cool partnership that we formed in a sport that I had never covered. But it is a really interesting sport. I mean, I'm sure if I had more days to kind of sit and watch it and really learn all the moves and techniques. I mean, it really is interesting to see how, boys and girls today, of course, girls was what we were watching, but just to see kind of their strategy going into certain moves and how they get out of certain moves.
Right, yeah, and technique is so important, Michael. I can't stress it enough. That's what it's a difference between an average wrestler and a great wrestler. You have great technique, and you can counter any move that comes at you. And that's just that's just drilling over and over again. And that's what they do at practice. And it might
I was going to say, how about this? How about take us through, most people the people that are watching at least, they saw these championship fights, but, before how they get to this point, what is a practice like? What's the difference? What is a practice like, a wrestling practice?
Hardest sport that I ever did. I was in the best shape when I wrestled in high school. It's tough. You need to be mentally tough. A practice, at the beginning you warm up, so, we run a few miles.
Okay.
Beginning of practice. Or if it's, or you might run in the gym. If it's raining outside, you just run around the mat, do different things. Do
some stretching.
Buddy carries, wheelbarrows, fireman carries, you're carrying your partner, doing stuff like that, running around the mat. So after you warm up, then you really get into drilling. We start drilling. So let's say where we start standing on our feet, we'll do some hand fighting at first, which is just trying to control your opponent with your hand, trying to do like the inside tie like I was talking about, or grabbing their wrist, trying to get hand control so you can get in a position where it's easier to go down and grab a leg or two.
Okay.
So it's just drilling. You just drill so we'll drill single leg takedowns.
And how long do you kind of stick on the hand technique? Probably about like half an hour?
No.
15 minutes?
This is quick. So
okay.
Hand fighting we'll do at the beginning of practice. We might do 3 minutes of that. And so hand fighting is just going back and forth. Then we'll go to takedowns. So single leg, double leg. I'm throwing out a bunch of high C, which is a high crotch. That's another takedown. A sweep single, a snatch single. So all these different, and we'll do each one of those for at least 3 minutes, and we'll go 1 and 1. So one guy goes, then the other guy goes, and you go fast. You go hard. You drill hard. Because if you don't drill hard, you come out to a match and you're going to get smoked.
Now, do you have all of the team doing it at once, or is it kind of just everyone's watching the one match, then two guys step up?
No, because we have, we put out three or four mats, so
okay.
everyone's on there going at once.
Okay.
And we're drilling all, different things. Then after we're done drilling standing up, then we go, someone's on top, someone's on bottom. We drill different kind of breakdowns where you're flattening the opponent out. Pinning combinations.
Do you drill getting out of things?
Yes, getting out of things too. So let's say someone's getting turned over to their back, how you're going to get back to your stomach. Different techniques on that, how to defend the half Nelson, how to defend all these different pinning combinations. So we'll do defense as well. It's just a lot. And then you go to situational live. So we'll do different situations. And we'll do it for only 30 seconds, situational live. So one guy might have the half in on, and the other guy's on his back. So there's someone on their back, and you have to get off your back, or one guy has a hold of a leg, and he's in good position, and then he's in bad position, and so we do different scenarios, standing up and on the ground. I know this is a lot throwing,
I guess, I'm sure then the wrestler's like, when are we going to spar? When are we just going to go at it and
and then we do live. We do live at the end of practice. Near the end of practice, we do live. Sometimes we do a weight line and get groups of 3 or 4. Sometimes we just partner up and wrestle a match or 2. And so they're tired after that, and then we do conditioning. Up downs is a common conditioning thing that we do. 6 minutes of up downs, push-ups, sit-ups in between, or else we'll do sprints. It's just all sorts of stuff. But the way you get in wrestling shape is to wrestle live, and so that's what we do that a lot at the end of practice.
Well, and another thing I'm really impressed with, and I guess I don't know if you've encountered this either by when you were wrestling or coaching, but our coach, and even talking to Harmony Roberts' father, who lets Harmony do soccer and wrestling, there was a lot of kids at Liberty who got to do both, and I think it was partly because our head coach Chappell, his son was in my grade, and he was pretty good at both, so he let those kids do both soccer and wrestling, and I thought, most sports,
that's in the same season, though.
Yeah, and they're in the same season.
Wow.
They're both during winter, and most sports, I would think, the coach would want them to be committed to that sport.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
So you've never encountered that? Wow.
Normally, once, if there are 2 sports in the same season, you got to pick one, because how are you going to commit to one? And wrestling is really a sport where you have to commit to. There are other sports where you don't have to be there as much because there's not as much technique involved, as much learning. If you miss a week of wrestling and you're a new wrestler, you're going to be way behind because it almost takes a week just to get the stance right for a new wrestler.
Because, that was the way that a lot of our guys got 4 letters. They do the football in the fall, they do both wrestling and soccer in the winter, and then they do baseball or tennis in the spring.
Yeah, you miss a week of wrestling, you're way behind. Yeah. Especially if you're new, the stance takes so long. This year working with kids, new kids, freshmen, just working on their stance, getting their stance right, their hand out in front of their lead leg so they're protecting their lead leg, just basic things like that. And they're just basic things that you miss practice, you're going to miss them.
And then another question I had, kind of asked this out of Harmony's father, and I want to ask you the same. Harmony did have a pretty bad injury last year, wrestled through it, but he said, when I asked him earlier before, I said strengths and weaknesses, biggest strengths and weaknesses. He said the biggest weakness is really just fighting, just going out there, wrestling, and not having that injury kind of be in her mind. Now, have you ever been around a wrestler as a coach or as a teammate that that got hurt and was kind of afraid to get back out there? And what can you do to kind of get their mind off of it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, at that point...
Because wrestling seems like more of a sport where you could re-injure yourself real quickly again if you're not doing things.
You could, yeah. I mean, and that's kind of tough, too. That puts the wrestler in a tough situation because anyone who's injured and is a contact sport, you kind of do your sport, so you wrestle or you play football a little bit differently, or just you're more conscious of that injury. So, you might favor one side or not do certain moves because you could possibly injure it. So, I mean, that's when you see the wrestlers that are just, mentally tough and just kind of put it in their back of their mind. That's what you have to do. You can't think about it. If you think about it, you're really putting yourself at a huge disadvantage already because you might wrestle differently. And if you don't wrestle to your ability and wrestle hard, then you might lose to your opponent, and so that's putting yourself at a disadvantage, like I said.
So I'm guessing that just like the individuals, it's going to be the top 3 teams that make it to the championship. Last year's top 3 was Ukiah, James Logan, and Albany. Albany and Logan battling for the top spot this year. In 2011, it was Albany, Newark, and San Leandro. 2010, Newark Memorial, Castro Valley, and then Albany High.
So yeah, those teams will, if you place an NCS, you place an NCS. But like, let's say, well, I'm guessing like all those teams, obviously that place in the top 3 did very well at NCS. So they'll move on, obviously, because they have wrestlers that placed. So they'll all move on. We'll see who places 1, 2, 3 this year. But if you place 1, 2, 3, you obviously have some wrestlers who did well in the finals at least. So
Carissa Madsen, just to harken back to her, 108-pound champion this year. Boy, I mean, you want to talk about great wrestlers, great girl wrestlers in the early start of this sport. And she might be one of the best to ever do it, as this year she stepped up a weight class. Let's see if I can get to Carissa Madsen. But there she is. Madsen wrestling out of the 122-pound division this year and going undefeated, 28-0 going into this tournament. She was also the champ last year and went undefeated at 28-0. Only a junior, and she has the potential next year to be a 3-time North Coast section champ. Undefeated in 2 straight seasons. How hard is it to do that?
yeah, that is tough. I mean,
56 victories in 2 years. And that's just the regular season. That's not including the tournaments.
Right, yeah, that's impressive. Undefeated 2 years in a row. That's
62-0.
That's a special wrestler right there.
62-0 in her last 2 regular seasons and North Coast section matches combined for Carissa Madsen out of Novato High School. Talked about Harmony Roberts, how she was the champ last year in the 114-pound division. She went 28-8 last year in the regular season as a freshman. Won 3 matches in the North Coast section to finish 31-8 going into state. This year she was injured for a big portion of the season. That's why she only went 10-0, but she was undefeated. Picked up 3 wins here in this tournament, 13-0, as she will head on to state.
Now we have the 146-pound weight class.
Big ups for Chanel Shawalit out of Albany. Last year lost in the championship 118-pound division to Elaine Ramos. This year, she scores the victory in 8 pounds in an 8-pound higher division, the 126-pound division. Erica Mahalia out of Casa Grande, who was last year's champ. She was the one in which Shawalit defeated. Erica Mihalea, last year's overall top seed. This year she was 3rd seeded.
And so here we're going to see Rachel Butler here receiving her second place medal, the first-year wrestler who needs to, like I said, so impressive. You get here and your first year wrestling, Michael, but, obviously there's some technique that she can improve on, and that's the kind of attitude you have to have. You have to be determined, and you have to never be satisfied, really, in any sport, but especially wrestling, because there are so many things you can learn and continue learning. You think you've learned everything, and you learn more and more every single day.
Well, she did feel that she was going to be ready for this, as she said this, quote, "You use similar techniques in each sport." Remember, she came from judo.
Right.
She said there's a lot of body contact in judo, so I'm used to the body-to-body contact as a girl, end quote. As for her coach, Coach Dennis Golcher said, quote, "I'm extremely proud of her, the way she's taken from judo to wrestling and excelled. She's had 3 first-place finishes and 1 second-place finish in tournaments this year. It's definitely rare for any first-time wrestler, especially a girl, to come out and excel and succeed the way she has. She's a judo champ, and the judo has definitely helped her, but," and this is like you said, "there are differences between judo and high school wrestling. Mm-hmm. She's had to learn those differences, and she's picked that up fairly quickly."
No, and that's a fair assessment. That's absolutely correct. She has done it fairly quickly. She was here wrestling in the 146-pound NCS final today. So I think it's safe to say that she's on her way to a fantastic high school career, and what a way to kick it off.
Yeah. Although judo is still her passion and probably the thing that she's best at, as Rachel Butler recently traveled to Australia to compete in judo at the Youth Olympic Festival. Only 9 American judo students took part in the event. Although she realizes that wrestling might be her ticket to a college scholarship. They're not given away too easily in the sport of judo.
Now we're on to 154 now. And that was Kakua from Rancho Cotati, who was able to defeat her opponent in the first round, and that was Nicole Diaz from Liberty.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the bracket. No familiar names from last year. Although Kuka was in the tournament, she lost rather early. Correction, Kuka making it quite far, but then losing to Linehan out of Novato.
Yeah, but she did lose right away. She lost in the first round, so she went to the
that's the
third
consolation
place.
bracket.
That's the third place. Yeah, she did lose.
She lost to
round.
Steiding.
Right, she was 20-7 last year, and so this year, what a way to finish off her senior year. I mean, with an NCS title.
And like I said, upsetting the girl that really had more victories and less losses than her. Just really quick to go back to a lighter division. I'm proud of Alyssa Hernandez, who wrestled the 138-pound division last year, same this year. And Hernandez, who lost in the championship last year to Tanisha Kyle out of Eureka. And she fought hard to get better, earned the top seed this year, and got the championship. So congratulations to Alyssa Hernandez. Now they're getting ready for the 165-pound division, which Naomi Hill was the champion.
Out of Hayward. And this was a quick pin, too. 54 seconds into the first round, she was able to pin her opponent, Jessie Flynn.
Neither were in the tournament last year. But look, your girl, Sonority Stegman, wrestled 165s this year.
Oh, that was a bracket from, so last year she went 165, huh? Okay. And now she's up, and now
right, and she moved up quite a bit to go from 165 to 189. She really dedicated her offseason to putting on some more pounds. proved to be quite successful as she stormed through this year's 189-pound bracket.
She really did.
Stegman, who came up just short in the 165 class last year to Savannah Nichols, a senior. So after the 165-pound class, they will announce the 189 and 235-pound weight divisions. And look at Pittsburg. They really know how to put heavyweight girl wrestlers on the map, as they won last year in the 235-pound division with a different wrestler. This year it was Sam Cruz who won the heavyweight title. Last year it was Lachey Banks.
So here's Flynn as she comes up to receive her second place medal in the 165-pound weight division. And then we'll see Hill from Hayward.
Flynn out of Middleton.
And looking to my left, there are a few other girls from Middleton with some medals. So a good showing for them today.
Yeah, Middleton with 3 wrestlers that made it, but just could not close the door on a championship.
And it looks like only one that's going to move on, and that's Flynn.
Well, Flynn should move on, and Sierra Egger.
Yeah, sorry, the other one is in second place right there. Yeah. Yep, so 2 out of the 3 moving on.
Not bad. Although, like I said, their coach felt pretty confident in that this could be the year where he takes the team title, but it's not meant to be.
All right, so now we move on to 189. 2 more weight classes to go, 189 and 235, and this is Stegman from Berkeley, who was able to capture the 189-pound North Coast section title, getting a pin in the second round over her opponent, Vicky Espinosa from Rancho Cotati. Things kind of winding down here, but I had a great time today, Michael. It was it was fun.
And like I said, we'll try to get Stegman on, and maybe if you could just ask her a couple questions. Yeah. I'll let you conduct the player of the match interview. Try to get Stegman on if we can. So, folks, that'll be coming up shortly. We'll take a bit of a break. Actually, we'll just let it fit. We'll just let it roll.
Yeah, we could just bring her on right here. We'll have her just sit down. We'll just talk to her right here.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get
keep
Stegman.
This thing rolling.
Yeah. What an exciting day it has been here, though. Remember, folks, Play On Sports is on YouTube. You can catch videos there. You can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's Play On Sports with a capital P, L-A-Y capital O-N, lowercase n, and then sports with an exclamation mark at the end.
So that's the third place finisher here from Petaluma, Larson. And now we're going to see Espinosa. She comes up in her Rancho Cotati red.
And here comes Sonority Stegman. And I'll go try to get her really quick.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break, and hopefully we'll be back with Stegman for an interview. Welcome back to our coverage of the Girls North Coast Section Championship. I'm here with Iris Stegman now, and Iris, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Watching your match, I watched the 126-pound division and on, and I thought you were the most impressive wrestler I saw. You know, a lot of the girls didn't seem as comfortable on their feet, but you were very aggressive on your feet with your takedowns. Is that something you work on all the time? And I know not a lot of people are very offensive. Is that something you kind of pride yourself on?
Yeah, definitely. I remember my first couple years, I was very scared to shoot, and like many of the girls.
More defensive, yeah.
Yeah, and I just waited for someone to do something, but I got comfortable with being on my feet. And it's nice being in 189s where it's really a throwing weight class and everyone throws.
Right.
So it's good to surprise them with the shots.
Right, and be quick and take those shots.
Yeah.
And then when you got to the ground, you can just tell you were the superior wrestler. Espinosa was having some trouble, but I could tell your armbar was your favorite move on the ground there. You locked it up a few times, were able to run it and get your near fall points. Was that just easy in that match, or do you normally kind of mix it up? What do you do normally when you're on the ground there? It seemed like the armbar was the way to go today.
Yeah, armbars, I generally do armbars almost every match, but I mean, if a half is open, I generally go for it. There were a couple halves, but I just wanted to play it safe. And
with the armbar, that's more of a safe move, as they're not gonna. As you turn them, they're not going to roll through. You know, the arm bar is very tight, and you're able to run it and turn her over. That was a very impressive match, and that caps off your senior year. So moving on to state here in about a week or so, is that correct?
Yeah.
What are your expectations for that?
I'm hoping to take first. I had one loss this season, but I was ranked first at 165s going into the season, and I went up a weight class, but I think that I can keep it solid. And
how is that? Has that been a big jump? I mean, maybe just it's more of a throwing weight class, but from the 189, 165, what's the biggest difference that you see?
I honestly don't see that much of a difference. I notice that the girls are less comfortable on their feet. And once you get down to the ground, girls aren't as well. They don't do as good of a job as defending, but it tends to be the same.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us for a few minutes, and congratulations. That's Iris Stegman, 189-pound champ in the North Coast section, headed to state next week. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back shortly. and welcome back to our coverage of PlayOnSports.com. I'm here with the whole James Logan wrestling team and coach Ricky Williams. And first of all, congratulations on taking first overall here in the tournament.
Thank you.
North Coast Section champions as a team, and they also had 3 champions in the 98-pound division. Haley Aguilar, 118, Melanie Cordero, and Alyssa Hernandez at 138, and also a runner-up in Talisa Noriega as well. So just a great showing overall. You guys got second last year. And I coach on the boys' side. I know James Logan is always a perennial, a powerhouse on the boys' side. How's it been building up the girls' program at James Logan?
It was brand new. Last year was the first year we actually had a team together. We've had girls here and there, but last year was the first year we put an actual team together. We had 7 girls come out, 7 girls place, and I think just word of mouth around James Logan, the girls wanted to jump and be a part of it. And so we had more girls come out this year. We had 12 girls. Lost a couple due to grades last minute, but took 10 girls here, placed 9 of them, and as you know, 3 champions, 1 runner-up.
Yeah, no, that's very impressive. Just starting your program last year, you guys were second last year as a team, first this year. And how many girls do you have now? You said you had 7 last year?
We only brought 7 to NCS last year. We brought 10 this year, but we had a total of 14 girls come out for the team.
That's great. I mean, and girls wrestling is just getting bigger and bigger. And now you'll take those 4 girls that the 3 that placed and the 1 runner-up to state.
5.
We have 5 total. Third?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Very impressive. So you have 5 next week at state. And what do you expect out of your 3? Well, let's go with all the girls, but your 3 champs as well.
Our 3 champs, we set the goal at the beginning of the season. We want to chase that state title as a team. From the beginning of the season, we set that goal. We've won every tournament we've been in, and I think the girls, the ones that are all in the finals, are chasing that state title as well as the other one that's taken 3rd.
Yeah, and there was all those matches you guys had tonight. Especially, I saw Hernandez mostly, and that was impressive. I mean, we're seeing good technique out here too. Because we know in wrestling that's so important. Technique, not just having determination, but really drilling that technique. And you can tell that your girls have definitely have the the proper coaching, the proper technique, and looks like you guys are on your way to a lot of success. So congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Our first girls title ever, so we're very excited about that. We want to bring home quite a few more.
Yeah, so James Logan, first overall, 3 champs today and a runner-up. They'll be taking 5, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's right, 5 to state. So thank you for turning into our PlayOnSports.com coverage here. Ricky, thank you for joining me.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, good luck at state.
Thank you.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.